a sushi boy?
Yeah, 2 eyes in the name, bitch, you know the gang. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes, sushi side, don't resuscitate. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes in the name, bitch, you know the gang. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes, sushi side, don't resuscitate. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. Put that on my grave. Put that on my grave.
Rocking out with these rap bars, partying just like rock stars. Chopping bricks with my chopsticks, real ninja shit, big watch sticks. Karate kicks with samurai hats, Namahashi spits with O&I rap. Kamikaze shit, you can't deny that. Get slow, how we gon' die fast? We moving, sushi boys, sushi gang, sushi everything. You know the name, 2 eyes on everything. 2 lit, 3 smart, that part, real art. So high that we could die, bitch, put that on our graves.
2 eyes in the name, bitch, you know the gang. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes, sushi side, don't resuscitate. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes in the name, bitch, you know the gang. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes, sushi side, don't resuscitate. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave.
Look, heartbeat thumping, bout to jump about my chest. Got ounces on deck, more chronic than Tourette's. Me and Namahashi steady getting high since we were little co-highs with no license. Mama getting high, daddy getting high. Might as well do it, everybody in my life is. Now I'm gone with a head full of homegrown. So gone, poke holes in the ozone. Ass profane, but me as Blackstone. Try to box on a whole nother time zone. And the more good drugs in my bloodstream. On the table and about to get my guts clean. Mortician performing a drug string. Already know the results that it's gon' read. We earning money, then we burning money. Then we get burned and they put us in and earn is funny. Lot of shit in my life I ain't done yet. Like flying in a jet during sunset. Getting mad high, wait I've done that. But I ain't made $1 million in a month yet.
2 eyes in the name, bitch, you know the gang. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes, sushi side, don't resuscitate. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes in the name, bitch, you know the gang. I'm so high, I could die, put that on my grave. 2 eyes, sushi side, don't resuscitate. I'm so high, I could die, put that.
Hey, what's up everyone, Fuzzy Juggernaut here, and today I'm going to be showing you my system corruption build that I run. I like this one a lot. It runs the shotgun and the pestilence. It works pretty well. It counters quite a few of the harder, tankier builds that can punch out damage. It is sort of situational though, and you have to play it smart. You can't just like go full crazy and run straight into people without proccing your set off and stuff like that. Like, you need to know what you're doing and time your battles right. Know when to push, know when to back out, and know when to like get away if you need to, and when you need to hit and proc your armor kit. But without further ado, I'll get into it right now. Let's go here. Our specialization. It's no surprise, it's the firewall. It's just pretty much, it's hard to compete without the firewall. I have a couple builds that are coming out with not using the firewall specialization, but for most part, firewall is king in PvP right now. The medkit is ridiculously good, even without efficient or with efficient. It's still really good. Besides that, you want to stack into shotgun damage and LMG damage, and then the medkit for the specialization. Our first weapon is going to be the rock and roll. If you don't have the rock and roll, you can just use the ACR 12. That works too. I've used both. We're sitting at 295 K damage, almost 300k, which isn't too bad. It does enough damage for what I use it for. So our core attributes are going to be 14% shotgun damage, 9% damage to armor, and 10% damage to target out of cover. The talent on this is perfectly extra, which is going to give us 50% magazine capacity, which is really nice. So instead of 20 rounds, you're getting 30 rounds. It does really help to have the rock and roll, because those extra rounds without having to reload saves you seconds in the fight. So it's whether it can make it or break it. But the ACS 12s, you can also stack a different talent on there that can give you more damage, like optimize or anything you want that will boost your damage, and you can get more out of that way. So it could be a higher total damage than what I have on here. I prefer the rock and roll. It's a pain to get sometimes, but like I said, ACS 12 works too. So it's up to you. Whatever you have, you can use. Second one's the Pestilence. This is at 70k. I actually don't have any LMG damage into my specialization right now, which I need to go back in and do it, but I was messing around with some other stuff and forgot to put it back in here. But overall, I think it sits at like 79k or something like that, almost 80k. This one's not god rolled, but it's close. We got 15% LMG damage, 11% damage to target out of cover, and 6% damage to armor. I think everyone knows what the Pestilence does. It's going to give you the Plague of the Outcast. Hits apply debuff, dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. This stacks up to 50 times. Whenever an enemy dies with this debuff, all stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy within 25 meters. So pretty much you're just putting a debuff on people, and this thing hits pretty hard. Shoots a little slow, but it does a lot of damage. You'll see most players rocking this in PvP. This is just to put a debuff on them and like mid-range action, and sort of keep the players and opponents at bay from rushing you. For our third, this is going to be a sidearm. You can use whatever you want. I'm just using the backup boomstick. It's not really important because we don't use it. I think it's hitting at like 1.1 or something. Yeah, 1.1 million. Alright, for our first piece, this is going to be the first piece of System Corruption. This gives us a 2-piece 15% armor on kill. Our 3-piece gives us 40% disrupt resistance and 40% pulse resistance. The disrupt resistance is really good because it won't disrupt your skills. So if somebody has a jammer on and they try to jammer pulse you with that, you'll most likely, none of your stuff will get jacked up or taken away. Depends on if they're rocking a full skill build or not, but most aren't. And then the fourth piece gives us hack step protocol. Replaces armor kits with an instant infinite use ability on a 20-second cooldown that grants 50% bonus armor and hides your nameplate for 5 seconds. So like I said, it's situational. You're gonna, whether you're behind a barrier or a car or something and opponents are shooting at you, if they start charging you, you can pop this med kit real quick and you get 5 seconds of some really high armor. You're gonna pop out, pull out your rock and roll or your ACS 12, and you're going to light them up, and you should be able to take them out regardless of how tanky they are. And then you're going to want to try to get back into cover before you take damage. We are utilizing armor regeneration on this so that we get some armor back while we're in cover and not getting shot. That way our armor constantly regenerates, because unfortunately with System Corruption, it's nice having the free medkit thing, but you actually can't re-heal yourself without a healing skill or armor regeneration or some way to get it back like that. It's just, you can't use an actual med kit to get your armor back. For this piece, I have 13.7% weapon damage, and I rolled maxed armor regeneration on this, and I'm rocking 5.2% critical hit chance mod on it. Our second piece is going to be 0Fs. This is shotgun damage, 10%, 5% total armor because we're rocking 2 pieces. That 5% helps out because we're sitting at 1.5 million armor. I rolled maxed armor on this one. We've got skill haste for the second attribute, and then the third one's armor regeneration. I'd like to have the armor regeneration a little higher, but this is the best one I had, so for this build. Put on crit hit damage for this because I'd rather have more crit than crit hit chance. I don't think we're sitting at too high of crit hit chance. I'll have to check, but I don't think we are. I think we're at like 30% and like 70% critical hit damage. The talent that comes with this is perfectly unbreakable, which is nice. When your armor is depleted, repair 100% of your armor. So this is also going to be another, safe way of getting armor back if your armor breaks or you get melted down and you're waiting on your armor kit to come back, because it takes every 20 seconds. And 20 seconds can be a lot in a fight. So normally I play this in group, You can play this solo if you switch it around a little bit. I played some solo with it. It just depends, but I throw this on in group normally. When we got the pesky tanky guys that don't go down, or they bum rush everyone and don't seem to take a lot of damage because they're running a bunch of armor and regen and the pestilence to put the ticks down, I'll use this, and this also takes them down. So after you have your unbreakable, if that procs, then you get, 55% of your armor back, and then you got the armor regeneration on top of it too, so it really helps. And efficient doesn't work with system corruption, so that's why we're not using it. Our third piece is going to be our second piece of system corruption. This is going to give us max armor right here that I have rolled on it, or close to max armor anyways, 160k. I need to re-roll it. And then we have explosion resistance. I prefer to have armor regeneration here, but I re-rolled this from a long time ago, so it's what I have, and I deleted a bunch of my other system corruption stuff. But yeah, you would want preferably armor regeneration with the armor on that one. For our backpack, we're running our second piece of Badger Tough, which is giving us that 5% total armor, which puts us at 5 million. This one's rolled with max armor and has explosive resistance, which isn't bad. Explosive resistance is still good. It's a type of resistance, so it's not the best, but it's still something at least. Preferably you'd want like hazard or critical hit damage or critical hit chance, something like that. Then this has max armor regeneration on it, and we have critical hit chance for our mod. Now I re-rolled versatile on here because versatile is really good. This is the second part that helps us out with this build. So versatile amplifies total weapon damage for 10 seconds when swapping between your primary and secondary weapons if they are different. So they have to make sure they're different, so that's why we have the rock and roll and the pestilence, two different weapons. This actually works really well, and the cooldowns aren't bad at all. So 35% to enemies within 15 meters for a shotgun and SMG. So when they run up close to them, or you bum rush them and get close, you're going to proc your armor kit, as long as you're not taking damage while you're trying to get to them, or they're getting to you, but you're just going to try to hold out, keep your armor up, and once you get close enough, you're going to proc that we get from the system corruption, and then you hit this. This is 35% increased shotgun damage to your shotgun, and the rock and roll hits hard, and it hits pretty fast for a shotgun, so normally you melt them down pretty fast. And then the second one's going to give us 35% to enemies further than 25 meters for rifles and marksman rifles, but we're not using those. You can use a rifle if you want, it's up to you. I just use the pestilence to put the ticks and the debuffs on them, so it's completely up to you what you want to rock. And then 10% to enemies between 15 and 25 meters for LMGs and assault rifles. That's why I'm using the LMG. You could use the Eagle Bear or whatever else you want. It's up to you, like I said, overall. I use the pestilence to put the debuff, and that's only because within the 15 and 25 meters is normally the second distance that I'm fighting at. I can put a good debuff on him. It gives me 10% increased more damage. And once I have that debuff ticking on him, depending on the situation, I can run up on him and proc my armor kit and just lay into him with the rock and roll. The versatile is really good though. Like the cooldown at most 1 per 5 seconds per weapon type. So it's literally 5 seconds, and then it goes on a cooldown for 5 seconds, but you're switching. So like you shoot with your one gun and it's procced, it'll probably be off within that time period. You switch to the other one and you can do damage with that one, and by the time you've even put out a few rounds, the other one will already be ready again. So it's really nice, and it gives you a lot of damage. Alright, our fourth piece is going to be another system corruption. This will be our third piece of system corruption, and this is 11.7% weapon damage. I'd like to be higher, but I needed armor regeneration on it, so I rolled max armor regeneration for the second one. Like I said, armor regeneration and damage and armor are pretty much the things you're going for on this build. Crit hit chance and crit hit damage are nice if you can get them, but I went for armor regeneration. I wanted some damage. I think we're, four blues, 2 reds. So it's still hitting pretty hard for only 2 reds on this build. But like I said, the main thing was having the armor regeneration. That way I don't have to use a healing or any of that stuff. Instead, I can just rely on getting to cover and trying to have my armor regen as I'm playing to situational and positioning myself around enemies. Alright, and our last piece is going to be the system corruption, the last piece of system of corruption, and this is going to be our knee pads. This is going to be close to max roll armor, and then armor regeneration, like almost on every other piece. So overall, you want the armor regeneration, you want 4 armors and 2 reds. You can rock more reds if you want. I like to be a little tankier when I play this because it stacks up with the medkit that we use, so every 20 seconds, so they just gives us more bonus armor that they have to melt through. Alright, for our skill, we're going to be using the Ballistic Crusader Shield. I know I use this in a lot of my builds and videos, but it's because I stack so many blues, it's pointless not to use the shield. With 4 blues, I mean, that's 40% active regeneration, 150% shield health, and 20% holstered regeneration. There's no other thing in the game that's as powerful as that when you've got that many blues that you get for free. Like, it's pointless not to rock this. We're almost at 3.5 million health. It comes back in 18 seconds, and our active regeneration is 55,000 per second. I mean, honestly, you can't beat that. And you get a damage modifier, which increases your damage for every enemy that you're fighting in front of you, too, and gives the boost to your team. So, I mean, you can go with Defender Drone or whatever else you'd like, as I say in all my videos, but I prefer the shield. It takes good damage, so it's up to you what you want to rock. For our mods, we're going to be rocking 4% shield health, 8% shield health, which comes with the firewall specialization, and then this one's going to be our deflector damage. Actually, we don't want that. Just kidding. We want damage bonus per type. So this is going to be our damage bonus per enemy. So every enemy that's in front of you, in front of your shield in your area, is going to stack up the damage bonus and give you more damage for you and your team members. Or just you if you're by yourself, depends. But it's going to amplify the damage that you're going to do to them that are stacked in front of you. For our second one, as usual, the jammer. I love the jammer pulse. Honestly, there's no other better skill for like tankier builds than this, because this stops most of everyone's hives. Now you will get teams that will, if they know what they're doing, one person will throw out a hive, and then if you jam, the other ones will throw out their hives, or vice versa, and throw out a couple hives, and one guy will leave his hive and then throw it out. Just depends, but for the most part, this takes away a lot of people's skills and damage that they use with their hive and their stinger hives and their bleed rollies and all that stuff. So even takes away shields. But overall, it's a really good skill. This one's at 27 seconds for cooldown, 5.5 effect duration, and radius is 20 meters. Charge time's 2 seconds. I think the mods on this, we're rocking 9.5 or 9.4% charge speed and 9% effect duration. So it's up to you. Like I said in all my videos, you can run what you'd like. This is just what I like to run. I'm not telling you have to run this. You can run whatever you want. I just prefer the jammer pulls. The watch is, everyone's watch is different. I haven't done the Warhound thing, so my shade levels are a little low. And people being stacked at like 900 to 1,000, yes, they are getting an advantage. So if you can do that, go ahead and do it. But I haven't had the time to do it, nor want to do it. I just get bored with doing that stuff. But it would be nice to do it, and I might have to do it soon because a lot of people are getting extra damages. And yes, it does actually add up, all this stuff, especially when you're getting all these percentages stacked. You can actually stack into other attributes into your build besides critical hit chance and critical hit damage, or like armor and hazard and stuff. You can actually take away certain things and add others, which allows you to get a more diverse build that could take either more damage and still do the same output as a hard-hitting damage build. So it would be nice to have these. I just don't. Mine's in weapon damage and mostly armor and hazard. This one's reload speed and ammo capacity and skill damage and skill health. Like I said, everyone's is going to be different. I only have 315. You guys probably have more, which is fine. We should be rocking the cluster grenade. I just forgot to save it with this one on there. Cluster grenade's good. It does a lot of damage. Can take people out if you've damaged them. They're hiding behind cars. You can chuck a cluster grenade and it covers a wide area. It does good damage. PvP damage in our stats is 295,000, 103 in PvP, which is nice. So it does good damage. We're only at 20% critical hit chance, which isn't a lot. I wasn't going for crit hit chance or crit hit damage, but it actually does help a little bit, even with this low amount. It still hits. So, and anything helps. 41% critical hit damage, which, like I said, is low, but still, it still hits pretty good for us. So 45% for headshot damage, which is low, but we're not doing headshots. I'm not doing headshots with that. I'm not trying to get headshots with the rock and roll, especially with the stability and being on console. So if you want to go for it, go ahead, but I'm not. You could rock headshot damage with the Eagle Bear too if you wanted to. Switch it around. 9% armor damage. Let's see here. Our armor, 1.5 million, just over. Our health is only 226,000. Armor regen is 22,833. It's not super high, but it's not super low. It's about mid-range of being decent. So it comes back decently fast, just depending on where you're at and who you're fighting, what you're hiding behind. If you're sitting out in the open all the time, then obviously you're going to get pegged and it's going to be taking away your armor. And it's not going to regen. It's not enough armor regen to be able to take a lot of damage and sustain it while getting the regen. I have other builds that I put out and ones that I'm going to put out too that have the regen, and literally you can just tank like hives and all sorts of damage from most players, not everyone. Some builds hit really hard and they can melt faster than your armor regen can come back. But that being said, armor regen is still really good in this game. So it's yeah, it is what it is. Oh, that was our armor on kill. Sorry, 226,000 armor on kill, which is not bad either. And then our health is actually at 280,000. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on right now. So we're at 90% pulse resistance, which is nice. I mean, it's not something I stack into normally, but it is nice. And our explosive resistance is 13.7. It's okay. And our hazard's low because we're not stacking into hazard. But disrupt is 43.6%, and that's pretty good. That's going to help keep our skills alive and not allow their jammers to jam our stuff. So they'll be all pissed off and be like, what the heck, man, I jammed him and his stuff didn't come off, or his shield didn't fall down, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's because we have disrupt resistance, so it's really good. Besides that, I think that's about it. If I missed anything, let me know. Pretty sure I got everything, but I appreciate everyone stopping by and checking out the video. Give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either way helps my channel. If you hate it or like it, I don't care. I'm just putting these out there to help people out with the builds and show them other stuff that they can rock besides the current metas that are in there. Subscribe if you want. I'd greatly appreciate it. And like I said, everything helps out the channel, so whether it's good or bad. Have a good day, and I'll see y'all later.